I've helped over 100 teams make their first $10,000 off the internet. And if I had to start my agency from zero, these are the exact steps I'll be taking to scale from zero to $10,000 a month with AIO. If you don't know what AIO is, I just made a video like 2-3 days ago that perfectly explains the business model. So check that out before your watches. Step one, I will pick out a niche, right? Picking out a niche is like picking out like the difficulty, right? So depending on the niche, holy shit, I'm stuttering. Depending on niche, it depends on the difficulty from the start. So if you're picking e-com, right? E-com is really easy to get into, but really hard to scale. Just because the reason that a lot of e-com, there's tons of e-com brands, there's millions, if not billions of e-com brands, right? So there's always gonna be somebody you can sign. And then with e-com brands, right? E-com is a really like started business, so everybody's getting into e-com doesn't have the budget probably, or they're just reinvesting dollar after dollar into their business, meaning that they don't have the money to pay you, right? So it's just not profitable in the long run, but it does have its benefits at the start to get results and be able to prove your skill and perfect your skill, right? As you can do free trials, you can do different types of deals with them in order to not get paid monetarily, but get paid with experience, right? At the end of the day, not all payment has to be straight money in life. That's how I started personally. I started with e-coms since I have I used to have a clothing brand, as y'all know, and I had a lot of connections to the clothing brand space. So I ran it for all my friends, and I ran it for a few other people that hit me up after I started publishing videos about it. But yeah, in 2026, I think the best niche you can get into is lead generation. The reason I say this is, right, lead generation is more of a local business, right, actual in-person business. So think of your lawnmower, right? Think of your think of your lawn care, think of your plumbers, think of your HVAC, think of your roofers, think of any type of actual service-based business, right? That's what I personally target. Any of those businesses, right? They're already established businesses with employees and businesses that have been running for years, right? Actual adults behind it, actual people making sure that it's a profitable business and living off it. So that means they have the budget, the systems, and they are already mature enough to work with you. Why is this better than e-com? They have the money, so they're gonna pay it. They have systems, so you don't gotta come in there and build everything from scratch. Number 3, they're mature enough, so there's not gonna be a bunch of bullshit work, and it's not just gonna be like a bunch of you told me this, you told me that. They understand how business is, and they will understand how to handle this business relationship. So yeah, lead generation is how I said any type of physical business, and the reason I say this is how I said they have the budget, so it's the easiest thing to possibly get into. And lead generation, they don't care, right? They don't care about the follows, they don't care about likes, they don't care about any of that shit that e-com brands will care. They only care about getting leads and getting paid. So it's easier to sell them a full package where I'm like, yo, I'm bringing 12 to 30 clients a month and you pay me this amount of money, than e-com brand where it's like, I'm bringing this amount of likes, this amount of follows, this amount of engagement, and this amount of sales. Because all they really care about is engagement, because engagement brings sales. So for lead generation, you're just bringing them leads, and that's it. You're getting paid for leads, which is getting a lot better than getting paid for sales. Step 2, right? Client acquisition. What I mean by client acquisition, how are we gonna get those lead gen clients, right? How are we gonna get those e-com clients? So there's 2 different ways for obviously each niche, right? Every single niche has their own different like way to target them. So let's start with e-com. E-com, the number 1 way to target e-com brands is the cold DMs, cold emails. That's like what every guru will tell you, like every person in this space. But personally, I do think content and it's purely content funnels. I just dropped a video too on content funnels and how to properly set them up and how I personally use them for my agency. So check that out. Definitely, I was more in depth. But it's posting content and bringing in traction and leads from there. That's the best way you can use for any niche, in my opinion. ODM is cool, but I promise you, e-com brands getting hundreds, if not thousands, of DMs a month of people trying to work with them to run their marketing. So this is not optimal, and it's just oversaturated. Cold DM, personally, I'm not gonna lie, when I was running my brand, I didn't check DMs. Like I didn't check my bad emails. I checked them like once or twice a month just to make sure there was no client text, and that was it. But I never used it, so they will never check that. For lead generation, the top ways they say is cold call, cold email, cold DMs. So the issue with this is cold calls, right? You're calling all day, But the moment you stop calling, none of this compounds, right? Your work just disappears. It's a very input based output, right? So if you're putting one input, there's one output. It's not like content where you do one input and there's multiple outputs to this, right? It goes viral and then you're having hundreds of leads coming into that video, right? So that's why I recommend content is the best strategy, and use building a personal brand as the best thing you could be doing. Cold DM, how I said, oversaturated, and normally like actual base businesses don't check their DMs. Like, think about it, your typical plumber is too busy actually working and actually running their business to actually check their Instagram, right? So same thing with emails. They work here and there, but the thing with emails is they look over. How I said, these businesses are getting hundreds, if not thousands of emails a month about the same thing that you're trying to sell them. So why would they pick you out of the bunch, right? You gotta make sure, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. You gotta make sure you're giving an exact reason why you should be running them for them and not anybody else. Number 3, skills, right? We gotta make sure those skills are on point. Those skills are, just on point, to be honest. That's really all it is. Make sure we're bringing those leads, bringing in those sales, bringing in engagement to our clients in order for them to succeed with their business. Because if not, at the end of the day, what are we doing, right? What we're trying to do is help this business get more sales and get paid by it. So if we're not doing our job right, why would they hire us? So how I said, if you're a beginner, I think you should start by e-com. You have zero experience. If you have certain experience or have a mentorship program and teach you how to do this, you should start with lead generation. While I say this, how I said is, there's millions of brands that will let you run their marketing for free as long as they don't have to pay. So why would you not learn your skills with something that's free? Like, it's like an internship type of thing. So why would you not learn it to there? It's just a lot safer way to run it. And then you don't want to come here to a lead generation business and lie and be like, yeah, bro, I have multiple like $1,000 generated, and then you come in there and fuck over their ass. Like, they're gonna be pissed. And trust me, you don't want to deal with a plumber pissed off. He just lost a bunch of money. So learn your skills properly. I will be dropping a video more skill based, right, on how to set up ads, how to create winning creatives, and how to actually run ads that really target the right audiences, and how to be able to scale them and read the data. How I said, if you are in a mentorship program, you should be running lead generation. If you're a complete newbie, start with e-com and work yourself to lead gen. Talking about mentorships, all right. I do run a mentorship program called the Elite Society. We help tons of teenagers every month grow their agencies from those 0 to 10,000, 20, 30,000 months every day. This is like an everyday thing. We're in meetings all day, making sure you guys are, getting the value out of your package. So yeah, if you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description, but let's keep going. Step number 4 is client retention. So client retention, right? That means, how are we going to retain these clients? How are we going to make sure these clients stay paying us? So this is the most easy step of all times. Why is this easy? Once you have the client's trust, it's just not losing. So right, how I said, important that we know our skills. Making sure that we're delivering what we said we're going to do. So make sure we're bringing those leads, make sure we're bringing those purchases, make sure we're bringing engagement, right? Making sure we're bringing whatever it is, making sure we're delivering. Making sure we're tracking data, right? So be able to see what works and what doesn't work. So why this is important is our clients want to know what's working, what's not working, and how we're doing it. So you want to be able to track the data so you can explain to them how we're doing it, what we're doing, and why it's successful, right? If you don't track data, you're never going to know which creator is successful. You're just going to be spending money on bullshit ads that don't convert. So why would you not track data and just focus on what actually works, right? Other things that make your clients not want to work with you is communication, right? So I know a lot of like brands that, agencies, right, that you just basically just don't talk to the clients after they sign. Matter of fact, I remember we used to work with this guy used to work for me, an account manager. He used to completely fuck it up, bro. Like, he would get the client signed, and once the client signed, just send them invoices, and then that's it. They wouldn't talk. That's complete like one-on-one way how to lose a client. Once I caught up to that, I fired the account manager, and I made it up to the client. Because number one thing is you're gonna have communication, right? You're gonna make sure they understand what we're doing, what's going on behind the scenes, how it's working. I give out daily reports every day. I explain why the creators are working, what creators are working. I make sure that sales are coming in on their sides. I make sure they're making money. I make sure their funnels are working. If their funnels aren't working, I'm rebuilding funnels for them. because I want to make sure my client gets the most value out of it and they're winning with my ads, because that's what's gonna bring them back every month and repay those $5,000 to $10,000 a month in retainers, right? So you just want to make sure you go over it right again, right? You gotta make sure communication's on point, skills are on point, data's on point, make sure they're happy, and make sure they're successful. That's how you keep it going. And yeah, that's really all I have for you guys. I'll be dropping the skills video probably later this week, if not next week. And yeah, definitely go watch the niche video, how to pick the niche, how to sign clients, and definitely go check out, if you don't know what AIO is, go watch more in depth what the AIO means and what it is that I do for a living in order to understand this more. And yeah, guys, let's get to the money. Let's do it.